Okay, man, now it's time for step 4. Truck's actually all the way down yonder, probably more Peggy's waiting for us, too.
It's all about the zipline, man. We gonna zipline in there, sneak up on them like ninjas.
Hello everyone, this is the LonePineWolfman, and I'm going to review Far Cry 5. Wait a minute. That doesn't sound too Far Cry 5-ish. Give me a sec. Far Cry 5 has been out for about a month now, so let's just see how the game has held up during this time. Let's get started with the most obvious selling point, the gameplay. Movement is generally fluid, with your character constantly running around, hopping into vehicles when you're tired of running around, easily finishing otherwise difficult missions with a helicopter and firepower. I mean, once you get certain vehicle types like the Widowmaker, you almost wonder why would anyone use anything else. Otherwise, it's a Far Cry game. A bad Far Cry game is still gonna have some fun mechanics, and the game intends to throw all it has at you. I mean, if you're by the road for like 10 seconds, a cold vehicle most likely is going to show up and more fighting is going to ensue.
My daddy put cannons on that thing. Don't be shy, deputy.
The frequency of cold vehicles and members strolling around the map is intense. I mean, they're everywhere. I can only get respite from them by hiding in the woods, which does make sense because a lot of the prepper stashes look like hideouts. But once an area is free of a boss, the cult activity is drastically cut. There is still some, however. The game doesn't want you to go vast expanses without some violence. Papa needs his fix. But you can walk the roads and such in relative peace after an entire boss area is liberated. How to talk about a story without giving spoilers? Okay, so the story is decent. I heard some other reviews saying that the story was absolutely terrible, but I believe the game was decent. Not Witcher 3 spectacular, but decent. It gets its point across. And the actors were chosen well. The map is divided Ghost Recon Wildlands style, which would account for the weaker storyline. It does harken to player choice, and you get to explore the entire map without being locked out of any place, except for the boss areas. So the story is detached and will run in the order of you completing a boss region. But the emphasis this time around is on player choice and interaction, so there it is. You get to choose to be male or female in this game, and you are the strong but silent type, meaning your character doesn't say anything at all. The decision was made so that the player can do the talking and imagine what they would say in the situation the developers said. That is special developer talk, for that it was cheaper not to write anything for the protagonist and having to pay for extra voice acting to make a coherent conversation based on your random and non-linear accomplishments. At least you tried, Ubisoft. So this time around, you're not really invested in your character or what they do. The game could have said that you were a trained chimp rather than a human, and it still would have all felt the same. You're no Shepard, Marston, or Geralt, just Rook. So there's no chance for a character arc, or, if not that, just someone to enjoy the ride with. And I would say that's one of the major flaws with the game. This is the first Far Cry game in a while that I found myself ignoring the animals most of the time, and they seem to be sparse. In Primal, before survival mode was introduced, animals popped out every 5 seconds, and I did get annoyed with the Far Cry crafting system when it got to needing like 3 of insert special animal skin to be able to create slightly larger bag to carry ammo, and you couldn't find the suckers for shit. But now there is no reason to hunt or fish unless you just want to go out and do it. It can't be for the money. You get enough loot and money from the dead cultists that show up in droves everywhere you go practically. Come to think of it, how does the cult have the numbers? I mean, Montana has one of the smallest populations of all the states. Anyway, back to animals. I never actively hunted in this game. Just if I saw the animal by the roadside, that's when I would kill it. But very few times I was attacked in the wild as well. So it is noticeable that the animal presence is much lower this time around than in previous Far Cry games. I will say this. I like the perk screen, which lets you select most of the items you want as long as you got the points for it. And it is not insanely difficult to get those points, so it makes for a good system. There are a few perks, however, I ignore just because they didn't seem to directly help me in completing the overall story of the game. Clothing is always fun. If you guys remember back to my very first video on Ghost Recon Wildlands, I tried to make the most redneck looking dude I could find. This time was no different. However, the major difference in the game was that you did not have a third-person option like you did in Ghost Recon Wildlands. Far Cry 5 laughs at you if you ask for third person, and then suggests you go play arcade so that others can see your get-up. So ultimately, did I have fun, and is this game worth the buy? If you like crazy amount of insane action, great music, beautiful landscapes, and with some decent, yet loose storyline holding it together, this is your game. You will get comfortable with a set of weapons, like me with the grease gun, and enjoy the chaos. If you're looking for a solid storyline that attaches you to the character, or where your choices have deep consequences for all involved, this might be one you have to pass on. However, Far Cry was not always like this. It used to have strong character development. Jason and Takar probably have the most convincing arcs and struggles throughout the whole series in my opinion. They are angry yet weak in the beginning, and have to build themselves up to the warrior and chieftain protector. Jason's choices destroyed the lives of his friends or his own sanity, and in Takar's case, the genocide of competing tribes. I exclude Far Cry 2 just because there's multiple people you can select, and so you can't just focus on one character. Far Cry 5 with the silent protagonist just doesn't match up to either. But the game is fun, and I enjoy playing it for the sheer thrill and action it gives. So in the end, it just boils down to what you want in a game. If you think the next Far Cry game should return to a more linear story, or create a style of free roam with linear storytelling, kind of like Red Dead Redemption, just write your thoughts in the space below. I'd like to know. If you liked this video, please click that likes button and subscribe, and follow me on Twitter if you like as well. Thank you again so much for watching. This is Eric, the LonePineWolfman, and I'll see you guys next time.
Where we seek mirth and beauty, and music light and gay. There are frail forms fainting at the door. Oh, hard times.